Hey everybody, welcome to a, dare I say, hybrid episode video today on this Thursday, March 6, 2025, which is a hybrid of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast and the Recap the Adler Europa series. Garret here in Detroit, out of work on this fine, sunny, a little bit chilly day. Combining everything just based off the way everything has been done with everyone schedulized this week, combining what just transpired for Eintracht Frankfurt's Monarch side, leg one of their two-legged tie in the Europa League round of 16 against Ajax Amsterdam, along with what else has been going on both in the Monarch and the Frauen world. So let's get right into it, which is today's matchup, leg one in Amsterdam. An Eintracht Frankfurt side coming off of two painful Bundesliga losses. We had talked about the 4-0 loss at Bayern Munich roughly 10 days ago. Coming off of the most recent loss, a 4-1 loss at home to Bayer Leverkusen, 5 this past Saturday. So you could say essentially that it was uncertainty. What were we going to see from this squad going into this matchup? And I think that I feel confident in saying that we can breathe a little bit deeper today. After the final whistle is blown, Eintracht Frankfurt go into the second leg of this Europa League tie with Ajax with a 2-1 lead after their triumph today. It started off a bit rough. Ajax, with their physicality, Brian Brobby up top being a nuisance, gets the opening goal. Ball in the box, Brobby streaks in, close range header past Kevin Trapp. However, it was after that goal that Eintracht Frankfurt really got into the match. Ansgar Knopf, who in particular was just a constant piece of energy on the right flank. Maybe his best game in a long while. Hugo Larsson equalizes things in the first half, 1-1 at halftime, and then in the second half, Ansgar Knopf wins a one-on-one battle, comes down the right flank, gets into the box, puts the ball across to Elish Skiri, who was coming in with a late run. Skiri, who I think our HefPod correspondent John Ben will have no problem with me saying was John was kind of dogging Skiri, deservedly, in our 50+ donor Discord. So I don't don't think Skiri has the ability to see what was going on in that moment, but he might have felt that energy, and I'm glad he did. Putting that, finishing from close range, giving Eintracht Frankfurt the advantage in this matchup, which they were able to hang on. I think this is what we've been waiting to see, and even when before it was a 2-1 lead, the last time I saw this performance by Dino and the lads that was this confident, this tempo, movement, pressure. It had been probably since at least the Freiburg match for me personally. So I think to get this now in a very interesting, going into another this rest of this Bundesliga season in the table, I think is a perfect. Hopefully the good vibes continue going on into this Bundesliga match day weekend. But again, after leg one, Eintracht Frankfurt go in to the Waldstadion. Leg two versus they'll have a 2-1 lead. Leg two is Thursday, March 13th. We will be talking about that next week in the next Eintracht Frankfurt podcast episode. But we will now kind of shift to, I think, before we do that, I think it's been fun. I think a lot of people were concerned about this fixture with Ajax today, and I think potentially even maybe I'll admit myself, after the last couple matches we've had, selfishly, this is the fixture that I wanted the 4 potential options we had go before the round of 32 ties. And I also want to give a fun shout out also to our Half Pod one of our main correspondents, Chris Monroe, because our fighting so Chris works for a Dutch company, so so it was basically friendly banter with Eintracht Frankfurt and his Dutch coworkers and colleagues who are Ajax supporters. And after, due to the nature and busyness of work and Chris being able to join me for Tuesday's Detroit Red Wings game, I think this is great payback, personally, to see. But may this continue. I don't want this to be a sign of, regret, but I think a great result. Happy for that. Nothing from me personally right now in hashtag what are we drinking. I'm in my car. I'm about to head home from work. I am going to get Arby's on the way home because that sounds fantastic. John Ben also probably has no problem with me saying that he's definitely covering for a multiple few people in hashtag what are we drinking today, because dare I say he might have been chatting with Kenny Loggins because he might be on the highway to the danger zone. Also want to show, since we hashtag what are we drinking, a good shout out to everyone that made it to the watch party event that took place for Eintracht Frankfurt Bayer Leverkusen this past Saturday in Philadelphia. From the photos that I saw, looked like a great turnout, looked like a fun event despite the matchup that was Eintracht Frankfurt 1 Bayer Leverkusen 4. Obviously, the more we hear of some upcoming match parties, we'll keep everybody in the loop on there. So wherever you're at, eating, drinking, whatever it is, we say cheers, prost, and yeah, may these good times continue onward. So now for the Dino and the lads, next up is going to be home to Union Berlin this coming Sunday. It is a 10:30 a.m. kickoff, so just a note for the next couple weeks to our Eintracht Frankfurt supporters that are in the United States. Kickoffs are going to be an hour later. They starting on Sunday. Daylight savings time begins here in the United States this weekend, will not be beginning in Europe until the end of March. So just a friendly note when you're wondering why things are an hour later for kickoff, that's going to be the reason why. So 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 Central, 8:30 Mountain, 7:30 Pacific time this coming Sunday, March the 9th. Eintracht Frankfurt are still in third place in the Bundesliga table. However, they are only 1 point ahead of fourth place Mainz, who defeated Leipzig this past weekend, and 2 points ahead of Freiburg, who are in fifth and taking on RB Leipzig this weekend. So it's more than imperative now for Dino and the lads to get 3 points as much as possible to finish this campaign off, especially with how tight the margins are now in a Bundesliga that will only likely see the top 4 get Champions League spots unless something massively changes in the coefficients. If Brian or Nathan want to check this out in post and provide an update on the coefficient stuff, it'd be cool. Otherwise, we can update that in a future episode. But I think 1-1 was the first result in the first fixture between these two sides in Berlin in the fall. Yeah. Since then, Union Berlin have made a coaching change. Back then it was Bo Svensson, but now it's Steffen Baumgart. And Eintracht Frankfurt have gone through their offs and ons, rough patches since Omar Marmoush was sold. I think I'm really curious to see how much of a rotation we see for Sunday. When you look at Kamujan only getting stoppage time minutes in the second half, Iliwali coming on late, Nathaniel Brown getting not a whole lot of minutes as well. Jean-Michael Bahoy, also somebody I thought who deserves a shout out from our earlier convo of today's match. So I'm really curious to see how that rotation goes and what is there going to be, dead legs, tired legs going into for the start of this match, or is the energy from this getting this result going to amp them up? Hopefully it's that, especially in front of a Waldstadion crowd that is hoping for some good vibes, especially after, the last two Bundesliga matchups. I'm going to go Eintracht Frankfurt with a 2-1 win here. I don't know if they'll have enough for a clean sheet. Robin Kalk out on Thursday here. Today's matchup here with a concussion sustained in the Bayer Leverkusen match. So I'm thinking the defense is going to be potentially a little bit shaky. That might play well into Union Berlin on a set piece. But I think the firepower for Eintracht Frankfurt could be enough to get them to 3 points here. Hugo Ekitike is going to get one, and I'll go Eli Wahi gets his debut goal for Eintracht Frankfurt. 2-1 is my prediction for that. Big 3 points here, especially with how tight everything has gotten in the table around us in the Bundesliga. Still in third place, but 1 point ahead of fourth and 2 points ahead of fifth. So hopefully when we do recap the Adler on Sunday leading into the next HefPod episode, it'll be one of joys, at least on the Monner side. The Frauen will be picking up after their little break that was just had, international break, and that is back in Frauen Bundesliga action tomorrow, March 7th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. They will be hosting SGS Essen after a rough 2 matches to last month in the Pokal, losing 4-1 at Bayern Munich. All of 3 of the goals a late conceder to send the match to extra time. 3 goals then conceded in extra time, followed by a 6-1 loss at Wolfsburg. So I think, and if it's either, off the top of my head, I might have goofed on that. It's either 6-1 or 5-1. But I want to see how this team responds going into hosting Essen. Is the shock of those 2 results going to be in effect and affect this team for the rest of the year, or are we going to see a quick bounce back? One thing to note, not this weekend, but the following weekend, Bayern Munich takes on Wolfsburg, so that might be something very pivotal in the table around us. It will only really become pivotal, however, if the Frauen resume their form pre-Pokal quarterfinal, and that is winning consistently. So 12:30 p.m. Eastern this Friday is Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen hosting SGS Essen, and then all things Eintracht Frankfurt round up this weekend with the Monner hosting Union Berlin this Sunday, March 9th, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Remember that. So that matchup will be on ESPN Plus. I believe the Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen SGS Essen match will be on DAZN. So hopefully we can provide a link on our HefPod socials if that's the case, where you can find us out. HEFPod on Twitter, HEFPod.bsky.social on Blue Sky. Hey Eintracht Frankfurt on YouTube. On YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. And Hey Eintracht Frankfurt also on Instagram as well. So shout out to all the team. As always, producer Nathan in St. Louis, Matt in New York for the Instagram, Miles for the branding, Brian for running the ship in Kansas City, Chris in Detroit, busy as ever right now. But I'm sure a little bit happier, especially with the results today. And John in Delaware, soon to be Virginia, making sure that if one person can't have much in What Are We Drinking, he can fill the gap, especially today. And all of you for, the ardent support of Eintracht Frankfurt, whether here in the States or abroad. Truly appreciate you. So that'll do it for this hybrid episode of Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast, recap the Adler Europa. Garrett here. You can personally find me, GM Comats, on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and Blue Sky, as well as Eintracht Frankfurt Detroit at Detroit SKA on Twitter. There'll probably be a Blue Sky soon. I just don't know when exactly. Be on the lookout for some more upcoming recap the Adler this weekend and the next Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast episode at the beginning of next week. Until next time, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, auf Wiedersehen, und tschüss, und Forza SKA.